Sarah from 17 once again, and here we are back in the cold deathly fingers of Visceral Games Dead Space 2, and this time around it is the new DLC, which is entitled Severed, and this is a Zealot difficulty video walkthrough for that DLC. And it's a really interesting piece of content, this one. I really like it. And it's pretty challenging as well, which is cool. So, the general premise is you're going to be playing as one of the characters that featured in the previous Dead Space games, one of the offshoots where it was an on-rail shooter, and you're going to be playing as a guy called, I think he's called Gabe Weller, and he was a character from the one that was originally on the Wii, but has now been remade into a high-definition version on the PS3, I think. And what you're trying to do is you're going to be navigating areas that you've been in before, as Isaac, and you're trying to get to your wife, because... Oh, just bear with me here, I have to change the fucking inverted aim every single time I play because the game doesn't save your settings for some strange reason. So, I advise going on force sensitivity because it's quick enough to turn around when there's something behind you, and it's also not too sensitive to be pretty accurate. And as soon as you start this DLC, you're going to be running through these mines, and these mines are a little different to the ones we were in with Isaac, but we will go to some familiar areas. And the only thing you have to worry about in this first area is these little gay ballsack mines that were on Dead Space 2. And there's one of those things that are in those people. But there's no threat in here, so don't worry about necromorphs jumping up or attacking you or anything like that, because there's no encounter in this first area, so just proceed onwards. And the things that this DLC brings to the table is you start off fully armoured in a pretty cool looking suit with a fucking awesome mask. I love the face mask, it just looks brilliant with the different lights and stuff. I am a fan. Visceral Games can really design headgear, it just looks cool and badass. But you start off with a seeker rifle and a pulse rifle that's been upgraded a little bit, and you also get a flamethrower. So your arsenal is 3 of the weapons that you possibly might not have used from Dead Space 2 because they were the more eclectic choice over some of, the old favourites. And I would definitely advise your guys to use the pulse rifle for the majority of this. The seeker is good if you're accurate. If you're not accurate, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Don't use the flamethrower. There's a lot of people that like the flamethrower. I fucking hate it. I really do. In fact, my first playthrough of this DLC, the flamethrower fucked me twice because the thing takes so damn long to reload. It's like he's getting his car keys out and he's dropping his car keys and he's scrambling for his car keys, and then he finally gets his car keys, he opens his car, and then he reloads the fucking flamethrower. And it annoyed me so much, I was literally swearing at my TV, and I wasn't even angry. But... The way I play this DLC is I upgrade my pulse rifle as quickly as I can by buying nodes. I make sure it's got full ammo, and I use the seeker rifle should I get into a bad situation when I need to use it. One thing I will say right now is, this is not the only way you can play this game. I have beaten this DLC twice. I do not know everything about it. I don't know every subtle nuance of how to do every scenario. I'm just showing you the ways that worked for me, and the ways I think, from what I've found, that are the easiest to take on the DLC. Because my Dead Space 2 guide got bombarded with different ways to do things and people telling me what I should have done. And I think a lot of those people forget that I recorded that guide the second day that game was out, and it was my second playthrough of the game. And it's like, it was all off what I learnt on that first playthrough, so you're never going to learn everything unless you spend hours with the game, and I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. But as soon as you come into this drill area, there is an achievement for killing a necromorph with that drill bit, but I wouldn't do it on Zealot because it can be a pain in the ass. And as soon as you enter here, that dude spawns with his lovely ballsack, and you can hear the pack. So if you freeze them with the stasis and you blow him up, you can deal with a few, but be careful because 2 more spawn behind you. And I freeze him, and then I use him to kill the rest of the enemies. And if you run down here, you can spin around, and you can clean up the pack. I could have probably just ran down here from the start once I triggered the fight, but I did it a little fanciful, and it gets the job done. And just remember to stamp the bodies and do everything that you learned on Dead Space 2. And a new feature that you're going to be seeing, it's going to be new for people that didn't play Dead Space 1, but if you did, you're going to recognise them. And there's a new enemy in this DLC, and it's the soldiers. And what that means is, when a soldier gets turned into a necromorph in the Dead Space universe, they turn into super necromorphs, and they can move really fast. And these motherfuckers can crawl fast, so even if you knock the leg off, they're still light speed, so be very careful. And something's going to bust a vent through. You hear it? Don't turn around, there's nothing there, it's just the game trying to shit you up. And yeah, them soldiers are assholes, but I've got a couple of techniques to take them down to help you people, so you shouldn't have any problems. And if anybody's played the multiplayer, you'll recognise this area, because this is the Titan Mine multiplayer map. And what happens in here is, when you go up to the top of this area, there's a guy that talks to you, and he's getting killed by one of the infectors. And if you can kill the infector, you'll not have any problems, but after that he will always get up, because look, he turns into those soldier things I mentioned. And the best thing to do for him is to stasis him, take his leg off, and then take his arm off. And for some reason, that infector's just not doing anything there. He had me dead to rights, and he didn't attack me. And what's going to happen here is when you hold the button, it's going to send waves of enemies at you in a time limit before the door opens. And if you stay on the platform, you will get an achievement. But I didn't actually know about it when I was recording this run, so I'm just going to run back to this position here, put my back against a wall, and take them on as they come. And the enemies they're going to throw at you, if you're worried, there's going to be a ton of pack, the little kiddies with the knife fingers, and there's going to be a couple of the whiptails, which I don't know the names, but they're the little two-armed dudes that are super fast, and they whip you with the tail. And I don't know if Visceral have tweaked the AI on the whiptails, because they don't seem to be as aggressive. On Zealot difficulty on Dead Space 2, if one of those things jumped at you, they would two-piece you before you could even recover, and they would effectively kill you. But on this game, they seem to be a lot more subdued. So, as soon as you press that button, you'll see that dude twitching like a drug addict. He's one of the soldiers, there's the whiptail, so clean up the soldier, kill the whiptail, and just listen now, because what will happen is, more of the whiptails will come from the right, and the pack will come from the left and the right. And they come in a pretty random order, and for some reason they can be really quiet. Because at the end of this fight I'm doing really well, and then I see one of the twitching soldiers, one of the crazy dudes, and I start killing him, and I get hit from behind by one of the little kiddies, and I just didn't hear it. So just be really careful for things like that, because for whatever reason the game can fuck you. But this is not a difficult fight. You are far more equipped than you were with Isaac when you took on these kind of situations, so you shouldn't have any trouble. You just need to make sure you stasis them assholes. And there it is. That thing hits me from behind, and did you see the ground that thing just covered? You cannot let these soldiers fuck about. They are too fast and too damaging. You have to clean them up. But once you do that, the door should open, so refill your stasis at the wall there, pick up all the ammo, stamp the bodies, and continue onwards. And the DLC itself is pretty short, it's only 2 chapters. I managed to blast through it in an hour on Zealot, my first time through, and I didn't die, which was a bit of a surprise. I thought I was going to. Oh no, sorry, I tell a lie, I died once. On as soon as you enter the last door, there's a little interesting section and it can fuck you up, so be careful of that. But that doesn't mean it's not challenging. The DLC can be challenging if you don't approach the situations the right way. Like, there's a section coming up after this, and when you get onto this elevator, contrary to popular, Dead Space lore, you do not fight anything on this elevator, but directly after it, you're going to be suspended from the roof, where you have to aim with one hand and you cannot move, and a ton of necromorphs are going to be rushing you. And this section, potentially, is very difficult, and the reason for it is, if you don't have a lot of ammo, you're going to get digged. And the first time through this DLC, I almost died because I had no ammo and I spent more time reloading, and this is one of the times where the flamethrower fucked me, because I switched to it and it took so long to reload, I got rushed, and luckily enough I didn't get blown up by the dudes with the cysts on their arms, but I got slashed. And you literally cannot let the enemies get close to you because they will do far too much damage. But luckily enough, on my recording run, I got a pretty decent performance against it, and I can give you a couple of strategies and tips that should help you get through it without any problems. And the general premise I used is, if they get too close, stasis them. It's that simple. If you can keep them back, blow the limbs off, use the limbs to telekinesis them into the other ones, that way you'll save ammo and you won't be reloading as often. And as soon as you see the improvised explosive dudes with the yellow arms, make sure you use them to clean up whatever the hell is left. And the first thing I do here is I telekinesis the box and I get the ammo from it. But you'll notice I get the fucking lid, so that slows me down. But as soon as you start, this guy will rush at you, so if you blow his leg off, blow his arm off, and then pick up his arm, you can use his arm to take out his buddy. Then finish his buddy out on the floor, use his arm to take out that dude, and then use the cyst to kill anything that's left. And I kinesis another guy, shoot him, kinesis him, here comes another cyst, use him to blow dudes up. Another guy rushes me. He gets a little close, but that's just because the pulse rifle he's not the best weapon on this game. I'm really not the biggest fan of it. The only reason I'm even half decent with the gun is because of the multiplayer. Because I personally don't use it. I think it's weak. But once you've done that, it will go to a little bit of an in-game engine cutscene as you crawl through a door, and then you've done potentially one of the tougher sections of the game. And this is the end of the first part of Chapter 1. I'll see you guys in the next video. You take care now.